What is going on, everyone? Anthony Drew Gary here, host of The How To Show, where we talk about optimizing life, money, and happiness one how-to at a time. I usually try to talk about things on the show that I've got some level of knowledge or expertise on, but admittedly this week we're going to talk about something that I know I need to get better at, and so if I need to get better at it, maybe there's a chance that you do as well. And so this is going to be talking about work-life balance and really the ever-present juggling of all the tasks and all the different things that we want to do with life, and how do we pack it all into what seems like never enough hours in the day. And so when we start to unpack this, how to achieve work-life balance, I want to start by saying maybe it's not even possible. Tonight is Monday. I'm recording this a couple of days before this will go live. It is 9 o'clock at night. I am still wearing a suit coat. Just got home from a presentation for my MBA program. Today was not a good work-life balance day. I went to work today. I went to class afterward. And so basically, I've not seen my family much today. And there will be days like that. There are also going to be days that don't look like that at all. And so when it comes to thinking about this, there are two main ideas that I can share, and hopefully I can get some feedback generated with this in terms of what people that are watching do to create better work-life balance in their own world, and how to make sure that you're keeping time available for all of the different things that are important to you. And so the way that I've learned to think about this in my life, and really in both my professional life and in my family life, my marital life, my fatherhood life, is to think about something that I read a while back. And so I'm going to pull this book here. This is Andy Stanley, When Work and Family Collide. And I think it's probably unfair to distill an entire 200-page book into one key point, but I'm going to do it. Basically, what the book's main idea is that whenever you choose to do something, you are also choosing to not do anything that you could do with the time that you're talking about. So whenever you choose to work on a work project after hours, you're choosing to not do all of the things that you could be doing with that time. Or whenever you choose to leave work early to go to some sort of ballet recital or some important parent-teacher conference, things like that, you're also choosing to not do all of the things that you could be doing with that time at work. And so to distill this down, it really becomes making life all about the highest priority items at the given time that you're working on things. And so to take that book example and to meld it in with another good book example, I'm going to reference Jay Papasan's The One Thing, and I think Gary Keller was a contributing author for that one as well. But that one, the whole key there is, what is one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will become either easier or unnecessary? And so when you start to think about this, and you don't want to get crazy or off the rails here, but when you think about basically auditing your life and auditing your time and thinking about what's the most important thing I could be doing with this time? Is it family at this moment? Is it work at this moment? Is it somewhere in between? And just really start to think about what can I be doing at any given moment, or planning out your days in such a way that you're getting the most out of them, because at any given point during the day, you're focusing on the thing that makes the most sense to focus on. And so when you think of work-life balance, maybe you think about it like I do. It's more or less a work-life teeter-totter. And what I mean by that is that sometimes the teeter-totter sways really high this way. And so there's a whole lot of work going on and not a whole lot of family life. And then every so often the teeter-totter starts to level out or maybe even sway the other way. And so there's a whole lot of family time, not a whole lot of work going on. And if I misspoke there, you get the idea. Sometimes there's a lot of one, sometimes there's a lot of the other. But to continue that thought onward, basically it comes back to a situation for me that I want to make sure that I am being the employer or employee, that I signed up to be. But I also want to make sure that I'm being the family member that I signed up to be as well. And, equal levels of commitment there. Maybe I would suggest that being the family person is probably a little more important. But you've got to weigh that out in your own scenario and see what makes sense for you to start to balance those. But if you can start to frame them with the idea that you're making sure that you're spending your days doing what's really important to you, hopefully you can start to fit things together. I once saw a graphic that's probably going to get me in trouble here with my wife, but basically, if you try to fit a mason jar, and you fill it with sand, and you try to stick the golf balls on top of it, it doesn't work out real well. But if you put the golf balls in first, and then you pour the sand in the mason jar, things tend to all fit inside. And so you just got to decide what's going to be your golf balls, that's your base, and all the sand fills in around it. And so you just need to figure out what that is. If it's golf for you, that's great. If it's family for you, that's probably better. But it's a scenario where this is going to be a little different for everybody. And I know I'm rambling on this episode, a little bit of stream of consciousness. But again, this is something that I'm feeling just led to talk about because I got home at 9 o'clock today, and it's a little bit unsettling in the sense, I basically went to work this morning. My daughter was still asleep. I get home and she's back asleep, and so this is something that I'm actively working on, and so maybe it's something you're actively working on too. And if you want to leave a comment letting me know that, I'm curious how you start to achieve balance with these two ideas that are always in tension, and to be able to make sure that you're not out of balance in the teeter-totter of sense. I've heard it said a number of times before that nobody's going to get to the end of their life and be regretful that they didn't work more hours. And I've also heard things said to the idea that if for some reason you were hit by a bus, your job posting for your old job would be in the newspaper before your obituary would. And I think that a lot of that might be true. A lot of it might be giving a bad rap to employers. But the reality here is that there's got to be a balance between the two. And I don't think that it can look the same each and every day. But it's something that I'm working on, and hopefully the idea of Andy Stanley's book in pulling out the most important thing and ultimately choosing that to do as opposed to choosing all of the other things and actively choosing not to do them is something that you can think about as a main idea for your life, take value from it, and start to choose what's most important to you. In my situation, I go to work. I have a side hustle. I have a wife. I have a daughter. I have a dog. I like to play golf. I like to dabble in sports memorabilia. I like to do a lot of things with my time, and so ultimately every day is a choice of what am I going to do with that time, and we've got to also throw in a little bit of time for sleep, a little bit of time for exercise, a little bit of time for hygiene. All of it jumbles in together, and you got to just decide what you can do to get the most out of your 24 hours, because ultimately you're never going to get it back. Long-winded way of saying, hopefully you can achieve some work-life balance in your world, and as I continue to work on it, if I come up with any monumental new ideas, I will make sure to share them on the show. And if you've got any ideas to really get the work-life balance in your world settled in, leave me a comment, let me know about it, and I will share it on the channel in a future episode. That's going to bring this episode of the show to a close. I babbled enough in this episode, so you won't have to hear about me asking you to like, comment, or subscribe. Or wait, maybe I just did. Anyway, until next time, this is Anthony Drew Gary, host of The How To Show, signing off.